President Chamisa irritated and confronted a lot of people, when you say that there is no constitution to defend. And in the minds of slow people, it's always like that because you don't see the sense of him saying those words. It doesn't mean that in literal sense the constitution is not there. It's there, but its functions, they've been taken away. So it's something which you need to consider as dead. And today, the 20th of February, he posted something. He said that, remember, we have a country to defend. Have a blessed weekend. And these are very powerful words coming from a leader. Remember, there is a conversation about how to confront the situation we are facing at this point in time. Zimbabwe came and simply declared that they are not going to pursue a referendum. This is despite this matter being before the courts. What it means is, as a Minister of Justice, you are supposed to understand that you was not supposed to comment up until the courts finalize this whole issue, because the same courts fall under the Ministry of Justice. So he was not supposed to comment, because these comments, they are now being regarded as interference with the court processes. How are we going to have impartial judgment when a minister comments things like that? So let us go straight to very important issues. And I need each and every Zimbabwean to pay attention to this, because this is the direction which we are taking at this point in time. When President Chamisa says that we have a country to defend, we have to understand certain things. And I'm going to show you what these people did when they wanted to destroy the constitutional fabric of this nation. What they did is they brought in laws which are meant to jail each and everyone who is going to oppose the 2030 agenda in the name of contravening the cyber security law. And this is very important because we have seen a lot of people being silenced nearly on confrontation with some people, on saying some things which makes some people uncomfortable, and they'll say you have harassed us, you have published lies, and so forth. What determines something a lie? What determines something harassment? There is no clear definition of harassment. There is no clear definition of a lie. Yet you are seeing ZANU-PF people lying on daily basis. You are seeing the Herald publishing lies on daily basis. Yet no action is being taken. But an individual is held responsible for whatever which they say, which is deemed a lie, simply because someone does not like you or does not like whatever which you are reporting. So at this point in time, what we need to understand is this is the beginning of everything. Defending Zimbabwe, we have to defend Zimbabwe. Let us go back to history. The liberation struggle was fought because the people wanted to defend the only country which belonged to them, which was hijacked by the colonialists. So they fought so hard to make sure that they defended. There is an argument which is running right there online. Jealous More was responding to someone called Tabiso. Tabiso said that, what's your say on the fact that term length is different to term limit? Hence, we do need a referendum. We do need a referendum at all. So this is the question. And you are seeing that these people, they are running a narrative that what is being adjusted is an election cycle. But a longer election cycle means a longer term for someone. It means you need to go and ask the people. It's simple. No matter how we explain this, ZANU-PF took a political stance on this one. They have moved away from the legal opinion or the legal standing of the law, and they are now looking at the political standing, whatever which they want to achieve politically. What it means is there is nothing you need to do except deploying the same tactic. When people deploy politics instead of law, where the law is needed, you deploy politics, then you have mutilated the constitution, you have declared the constitution null and void. That is the position taken by ZANU-PF. That is the position taken by Zambia. We will do another program where we will talk about the effects of what Zambia said in detail. And then this has been explained at length. Jealous Mawarire tries by all means possible to talk sense into these people, and they do not understand. But let me just highlight some things to show you that there is a need to defend Zimbabwe instead of the constitution. And I'm going to show you and to prove you. There is something which is happening called the cyber law. The cyber law is here and it's here to stay. When you are looking at the cyber law, it contradicts your constitutional rights, my constitutional rights, our constitutional rights. Because someone can wake up and say, you lied about me. They report you to the police, you get arrested, and you will be arraigned before the courts. The prosecution or the prosecutors will not look at what is called a lie for them to bring a charge on you. They will simply act on whatever information they have on you, and you have to present yourself before the court, which is against your rights. That will take away your freedom. That will take away a lot of things from you, your dignity, your reputation, and whatsoever. And if convicted, you become a convicted criminal. How many of us afford to defend themselves in court simply for something you wrote and or something which you reposted or you supported? So you can see that this is about making sure that each and every person is quiet and is silent. And these people, they are doing it systematically. So when you are looking at this law, you can see that when the government criminalizes the journalism, and when surveillance on journalism or on citizens has become law, and when the government can now interfere with the activities of journalists and citizens, we are no longer dealing with the issues of freedom of speech. There is no longer freedom of speech to talk about right there. So when you're looking at this, we are looking at the supremacy of the Constitution versus the cyber law, which was brought in by ZANU-PF. So what they understood is you cannot amend chapter 4 and chapter 16 without a referendum. Then they said, okay, we will not amend that, but we will go to the criminal law and we will amend the criminal law and we will make it vague, we will make it broad, and we will simply make everything inclusive of everything. There is no definition whatsoever of any crime. Everything is broad. So the courts no longer have a limit in terms of dealing with you. So they will jail you for nothing, exactly. So the supremacy of the Constitution has been taken away. And any law or any conduct or action which is inconsistent with this Constitution is invalid. But when we see people being charged using the cyber law, what you have to understand is the Constitution is no longer there, because chapter 2, which speaks about the supremacy of the Constitution, is no longer there. Once the supremacy of the Constitution is taken away, there is no Constitution to talk about. There is no Constitution to defend, because its supremacy has been grabbed, has been taken away. And a lot of people have failed to understand this. This law, it speaks to every person, to every institution, to the authority, and everyone is bound by the Constitution. And when people are no longer bound by the Constitution, and when people can pass laws the way they want it, it's no longer a constitution. We are now being ruled by some rules which are made and created elsewhere. And the purposes of the Constitution are no longer there. So let us go far much deeper and understand what we are talking about right here. When you are reading chapter 2 versus the Constitution, then, chapter 2 versus the cyber law, and then the infringement of chapter 16. Chapter 2 versus the cyber law, and then relate it to chapter 16. You will see what ZANU-PF just did to make sure that iwewe neni hatitaure, to make sure that iwewe neni chero tikarohwa tinonyarara, chero ukarwadziwa zvakaita sei unonyarara. Why? Is because you can be jailed for 2 years, you can be jailed for 5 years, you can be jailed for 14, 15 years. And no one asks anything and no one questions you. There is no way you will go and appeal and win that appeal. So, you are looking at 4 critical things right here. Supremacy of the Constitution, you are looking at the rule of law, you are looking at protection of rights and freedoms, and you are looking at democracy and accountability. And there is no act of parliament which can override chapter 2. But we now have the cyber law, which was passed into law recently and is being implemented left, right, and center by these people. It's now a law. We have seen a lot of people suffering. We have seen a lot of people forced to retract, forced to apologize, and to make other statements against their rights or their will. Why is it so? It's because online expression has been criminalized. Surveillance and privacy rights, they've been violated. You can now be arrested for something they deem false. But the question is, who defines it as false? And are you given a chance to prove that it is false? No, you are not. Why? Is because you don't have a job. You are fighting for change. You have published something. You get arrested. You need a lawyer to go and defend you. Where are you going to get a lawyer? Where are you going to get money to pay the lawyers? What they did before they passed this one, they dealt with the NGOs. Why? They knew that Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, Zimbabwe NGO Forum, and others, Zimbabwe Lawyers NGO Forum, these lawyers, they were representing people for free. So what they did is they made sure that they cut out each and every form of funding for these organizations. Once funding is cut out, these lawyers can no longer be able to defend people for free. So there is no free representation now. Without free representation, you are forced to apologize, you are forced to self-censor, you are forced to keep quiet. And the people of Zimbabwe do not see all these things happening. The educated ones, the intellectuals, do not see all these things. We've been talking about these things for a very long time, but no one cares. Why? Is because we don't have a popular voice. We are not known. We are not those big names or those big people who are recognized internationally. So whenever you mention these things and you point out these things, they ignore you. But at the end of the day, they'll come and they'll start making noise and say, we want to defend the Constitution. But when the NGOs were banned through an act of parliament, you were quiet. When the lawyers for human rights and Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, when their rights to represent you were taken away, you kept quiet because you afford lawyers. And you know that the people who are vulnerable are the people who doesn't afford. And then when this law comes, which is silencing people, now people who can never be represented, you are now making a lot of noise of defending the Constitution. But in the name of defense of the Constitution, you are not fighting this infringement of Chapter 2. So when you are not fighting the infringement of Chapter 2, which is the most critical chapter in the Constitution, then how are you going to be able to defend any other chapter of the Constitution? Because Chapter 2 has been bastardized left, right, and center. ZANU-PF no longer bring laws through the Constitution. They no longer amend the Constitution. They amend the Constitution when they feel that they want to do something major. When they are doing something which is deemed minor by people, they simply go and amend the other laws. But those laws which are being amended are the same laws which are amended against the same Constitution you purport to defend. So defending the Constitution must start by making sure that the statutory law is in alignment with the Constitution. Because the statutory law is the one which is keeping people away from politics for now. Because people are afraid of being arrested. They can go into WhatsApp groups and pick people to say, you have been discussing about ABCD or you commented on this one from a WhatsApp group. You get arrested for that, you get charged for that, and you get years for that. So that is self-censure. People can no longer discuss these issues freely because you don't know who is watching you from a WhatsApp group. You don't know who is going to take a screenshot of you from a WhatsApp group. So you can see that the defense of the Constitution, which comes late, is not defense. You don't wait for someone to die so that you start to render medical assistance. You start at the earliest possible time. And these people, they are already late. So when you're looking at this, you can understand that as long as the media and civic space is now limited, you cannot talk of defending a constitution. That is the reason why President Chamisa is saying, we now need to defend Zimbabwe. Why do we need to defend Zimbabwe? Go back to the liberation struggle. Take the Ian Smith constitution and place it on the table. Tell us where it allowed people to fight for their freedom. That is the reason why the freedom fighters of Zimbabwe were labeled Magandanga or terrorists. Why? It's because they were fighting for their freedoms, they were fighting for their rights, the rights which are now being bastardized nana ziyambi. Vachitaura ivo kuti havuna kuvhotera, hamuna kurwira one man, one vote. They have gone against the principles of the liberation struggle whatsoever. Why? It's because they are trying to defend the position. It's because they are trying to defend themselves from anything else. So as Zimbabweans, when we are defending Zimbabwe, we are now taking a political stance. Because what is happening right now, the bastardization of the constitution which is happening, it's a political game. It's a political position taken. And you cannot defend a political position using the law. You can't do that. You need to take a political position as well. That is the position taken by the leadership when they say, we have Zimbabwe to defend. So this is a duty. This is a pledge to duty to say we have a country to defend. When you have a country to defend, you have gone back to the liberation struggle settings. You have gone back to pre-1980 settings. And only politics allows you to defend a position. So for those who do not understand the mode we are in right now, they are very slow. And they will start to realize things when we are already bastardized further. When our people have been silenced further. That is the reason why there is extrajudicial killing which are happening. Vanhu vari kungofa zvisina tsarukano, vanhu vari kungoshungurudzwa zvisina tsarukano, zvese zviri kuitika losing comrades. Pastor Messiah, when you ask about accountability on his case, the constitution requires that he gets protected. According to Jonathan Moy, he said it clearly, kuti hakuna munhu anofa kana kutsakatika zvisingazikanwi kana kuti zvisingagoni kuresolvwa nepolice emuZimbabwe unless there is an order from above. So the question is, Jonathan Moyo, when he said those words, is a man who was part and parcel of the system. He understands it very well. So if he said that, who are these people to come and say otherwise? So you can see that we have a very, very huge task as Zimbabweans. Ask yourself a question. Why is it that these people, they are centered on attacking President Chamisa left, right, and center? It's because they know that what he offers is an alternative fight against the regime. And they want to try and moderate that because the people say, serious now. So they always want to regulate you. They always want you to work according to their dictates, according to what they want. So from what we have said so far, what I can tell you is we are in deep shit. We are in trouble as a nation. And whatever it is, we have to fight this struggle and we have to be honest, we have to be brutally honest with ourselves, that the Constitution, the supremacy of the Constitution is no longer there. Because if the supremacy of the Constitution is there, why are people being silenced? Yet ZANU-PF people continue to do whatever which they want with impunity. Threats are being made. Blessed Mhlanga went to the Human Rights Summit. He is being attacked left, right, and center. He's being threatened left, right, and center. But the same people, or the people who do worse, they are being protected. And you ask, where is the Constitution to defend you? Where is the Constitution to protect you? So, President also Chamisa is ready to defend Zimbabwe. And I hope and believe that Zimbabweans will be ready as well to defend their own country, because the country is being bastardized. And we have to make sure that we rise. We have to make sure that we take ourselves to duty and to task to make sure that the amendments do not happen without a referendum. If Mnangagwa is serious, the amendments must happen with a referendum. Anything without a referendum will be a confirmation of what President Nelson Chamisa has been saying. And we need to make sure that as a people, we deal with those issues.